Poker Tour. The biggest games, the greatest players, and the largest payouts on the planet. The WPT is a series of international high-stakes poker tournaments that can turn amateur players into millionaires and make professionals into superstars. With millions of dollars on the line, it's time for these 6 players to live the dream of fame, fortune, and the one thing money can't buy, a WPT title. Tonight on the World Poker Tour.
At the coolest spot on the Vegas Strip, the poker action is sizzling hot. The Mandalay Bay Poker Championship is about to begin, so shuffle up and deal.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Las Vegas. We are moments away from the start of the final table of the Mandalay Bay Poker Championship. I'm Mike Sexton.
And I'm Vince Van Patten. And Mike, the Mandalay Bay is the casino resort on the Vegas Strip that tourists can actually watch real-life sharks swimming in tanks. Well, this week, you know what? The sharks jumped out of the tanks, and they played in the poker room, and they played quite well.
Oh, you're not kidding, Vince. This field was filled with pros, but the superstars of the game got crushed by the upset kings who made it to this final table. The field includes a young chip leader nicknamed the Waco Kid, as well as a former Israeli paratrooper, longtime pro David Levy.
That's right, Mike. The poker sharks are swimming here at Mandalay Bay. Who's going to become our champion? Let's go watch them gamble.
Tonight, Vince, 3 guys have a lot of chips. 3 guys are short stacked. And if you think the strategy at this final table is that the 3 guys with chips are just going to hammer on the 3 short stacks, you're going to figure they're just going to try to hang on and move up a notch or 2 while the other short stacks get knocked out.
Antes will be $2,000. Blinds are going to be 8 and 16.
Well, action's on Danny Wong, who we've seen before at the WPT final table.
Well, he's got ace-9. Now, of course, Danny finished 6th in Reno last season and 3rd at Bellagio Cup earlier this season. He'd love to take this title. He is considering this in first position.
What do you do now? You're under the gun. It's hand number 1. You got ace-9, but you're severely short-stacked. And he's going to raise it here. Makes it $42,000 to go.
Next to act is Sean Buchanan, the 24-year-old. And he's got ace-jack.
Well, Sean, another tough, aggressive Canadian. Now, Vince, you'd have to think that the short stack raising under the gun is going to have a hand in this situation. Do you want to play ace-jack here? Wow. Vince, he is going to re-raise right here. Another $100,000 on an ace-jack. Incredible.
They're quickly folding David Levy going out, as is Jared Hamby. David Haddad as well. Back to Danny Wong with a problem here with just ace-9.
Well, a big problem, Vince, because he's only got $150,000 left. The raise was $100,000, so virtually he's going to have to commit all his chips if he's going to play this pot. Does he want to put it all in?
Now, we know he finished 6th at Reno. Is he thinking to himself, I want to save face here. I can't finish 6th once again.
And he's going to lay it down.
Well, it makes a nice lay down.
But what about that re-raise by Sean Buchanan right there? Now, we know he's an aggressive player, but Vince, he looks like another young gun that's just not afraid to fire.
No, not at all. Sean Buchanan, he's kind of like a cannon, you know, just shooting the heavy artillery, pushing around Danny Wong.
Boy.
And the former landscaper is going to take the first pot.
They know the short stacks don't want to go out, so they're just going to be hanging on, so why not just go ahead and hammer on them like Sean Buchanan did there and try to accumulate chips.
What's going to be on David Levy?
You know, he looks down at a pretty nice hand. He's got ace-10 of diamonds, but he's one of those short stacks, and he's getting away from it. Vince lays it down.
Well, a smart one, too, because on the left of him, Jared Hamby with the pair of kings, the Cowboys.
Well, he's known as the Waco Kid. He is the chip leader here, and he's got a big duke right here, 2 kings, and he makes it $42,000 to go.
David Haddad going out. Danny Wong with a king-8. Won't play that. Sean Buchanan with the Motown hand, Jackson 5s. He goes out. Thayer Rasmussen folds a 9-4.
So the chip leader going to pick up the blinds, and Annie's there. But Vince, you know he's a little disappointed. You want to get some action when you've got 2 kings. Jared, now living in Henderson, Nevada, grew up in Waco, Texas, went to Baylor for just 1 year, and then opted to drop out to play poker. But he says that's his lucky hat. He wears it every time he plays in poker tournaments, Vince. So, you know, that hat spent more time at poker tables than it did at Baylor.
Different, sir.
What's the over and under in that hat doing a wash in the last 2 years?
Sounded pretty close to 0, looks like.
He lays down a 5 deuce. But right behind him, Mr. Haddad. He's got a wired pair of jacks. He's going to move it up with a raise, going to 42,000.
Now, Danny Wong going out, but look at this, Vince.
Whoa.
Sean Buchanan
Oh,
has picked up 2 kings.
what a hand for the cannon.
Well, we just saw Jared get no action with his kings. Sean's going to get some here.
And it's beautiful because you have the button, too. Best place to be in poker.
Well, he is going to come over the top here, Vince.
Yeah, the cannon fires again, makes it 182,000.
Well, a healthy $140,000 re-raise there.
They're going out. David Levy won't play a suited connector. So back around to the jacks, and he's looking over at the cannon.
Well, Vince, what he's thinking now is that this guy knows I'm in second chip position, yet he's come over the top of me. Now, most of the time in that situation, when you have this scenario where 3 guys don't have hardly any chips, the other 3 have a lot of chips, usually the guys with a lot of chips don't really want to clash with each other till you eliminate some of these short stacks.
That is true, but on the other hand, he's saying, wait a second, this guy has the button. He's trying to intimidate. Maybe he's not that strong. So I think David Haddad has got to feel pretty comfortable with his jacks at this point. Little does he know.
All in.
Wow, he has gone all in here. An unbelievable play. These short stacks are just lighting up like a Christmas tree right now.
Back on the cannon, he's saying to himself, wait, is this a quick call or does this guy have aces? What to do?
All right, I call.
But he's made the call.
Yes, he does. You can't lay those hands down.
Well, David Haddad is not liking it right now. He is up against it. Sean Buchanan all in here.
The third pot of the night.
What a massive pot, over $1.8 million. Whoever wins, it's going to be the chip leader here, that's for sure. And right now, Sean Buchanan way out in front, about a 4-1 favorite to take down this pot.
David Haddad, age 43, came from Pittsburgh to Vegas. Has only been out here in Vegas for a few months.
David won't be out, but he'll certainly be nearly crippled. And on the short stack, if he loses this pot, well, let's see if he can get lucky.
Oh, it's a jack right in the door. And a king.
Oh, that's sick.
The ultimate torture there for David Haddad. A jack popped right up in the door, as we say. But a king was right underneath it.
You guys scared me. I didn't see
That's
that
just
king.
not right. Wow.
Well, David could catch 2 running spades and make a flush.
Here comes the turn.
If that doesn't happen, he's got to catch the 4th jack. Well, the 5 of diamonds on the turn. So we're down to the river, and David must catch 1 out.
He's got to spike that jack. Can he do it?
Nope, the 3 of clubs comes off. So Sean Buchanan making a major move right there. And Vince with that pot, he is now our chip leader.
Sean the Cannon Buchanan hits the heavy artillery. Smoke is coming out of that cannon, and we're coming back for more.
There's a whole lot more from the WPT at Mandalay Bay, so stick around.
At that final table in Reno, I didn't know what to expect. I played very poorly.
And just like that, Danny Wong out of here in 6th place.
You can compare it to any sports team. They're inexperienced in the playoffs. They don't know what to expect. They're going to choke, but if they know what to expect the next year around, they're going to probably do better.
Number 5 seed, Danny Wong from Walnut, California.
We play because poker's not a scratch-off ticket, a half-court jumper, or a knock on wood. It's no game of luck, poker. It's a game of patience and well-timed aggression. We know when we play, a little luck helps. But luck can't explain why final tables have so many familiar faces. We play at FullTiltPoker.com.
Field was very loaded. Every starting table I looked at was, 5 or 6 big name pros. There was Chow and David Levy and Barry Greenstein. There was some more of the young gun type like Ryan Doubt, who won the PCA, WPT, and Juan Carlos Alvarado, who's been tearing it up on the circuit lately. I mean, it was just extremely tough field.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. The Mandalay Bay Poker Championship from Las Vegas continues. 6 pesky professionals looking for stardom here tonight.
Well, Vince, these are the guys that kicked the stars off the stage.
Right.
And I'm talking about big-name players that made it down to the second table and even this final table that are gone. Guys like Barry Greenstein, 2-time WPT champion. Chow Chang, John Juanda, Chris Bell, and WPT champion Ryan Doubt. They were all there with a shot to get here. They didn't make it.
Let's get back to the action. There, Rasmussen Well, he has picked up the mother of all poker hands, pair of aces. He's going to send out a raise.
Makes it 45,000 to go.
David Levy out. Waco Kid going away with ace-8.
To David Haddad, he folds as well.
Will he get action? Danny Wong out, and the cannon's not going to play.
So Thayer Rasmussen is going to pick up this pot. And even though you pick up the blinds and antes, Vince, when you pick up 2 aces, you're not happy when they all abandon ship. You want to get action. You're really hoping somebody re-raises you. Didn't happen here for Thayer, but he does pick up the pot.
That's right. Thayer Rasmussen, only 23 years old. Kind of an underground hero. Loves the game. Has been very successful. And right there, he takes his first pot against real live people here tonight at the Mandalay Bay.
Well, he's a graduate of Central Florida in legal studies. He started playing as a freshman in college. Been very successful online. And as you can see, it looks like he's successful in live poker as well.
Back to the table. Danny Wong goes out.
And look at this, Vince. Without hesitation, Sean Buchanan is going to raise it with a Jack Deuce offsuit. He comes in for 43,000.
And the cannon going to push again into Mr. Online Thayer. He's got an ace-5. He elects to fold it. David Levy going out.
And Jared Hamby in the big blind. He lays it down as well. And Vince, that's the power of being the chip leader. You can make these kind of plays. People fear you. Nobody wants to mess with you. And you just pick up blinds and antes at will.
Must be nice.
Very excited. Sean the Cannon Buchanan with that bluffer smile. You know, that well-deserved, sort of an arrogant smile you get when you have no hand, but you take the chips.
Sean Buchanan is an animal. That guy is playing some very sick poker.
You guys have to watch this guy. He's going to be a good player.
I think a lot of people see me as a very aggressive player, which I can be at times, but I can also be very patient. The more I play that, it's very important just to survive and give yourself a chance to catch a rush at the right time. I like 7-9 suited, hands like those where you can snap off big hands like aces with them. I'm slowly getting better at reading people, but at first I was horrible. I've been doing well the last year, so money's always good. It'd be nice to get the title, though. Be a good feeling.
Sean Buchanan making a great play to pick up that pot. It's just a junk hand, but that's what you can do when you're a chip leader. You can make moves like that and pick up pots. When you're short stacked, you're handcuffed. You just can't make those kind of moves because you don't have the chips to do it.
That is true. And Sean the Cannon Buchanan looking delighted there. Close to $1.9 million as our chip leader.
Now he's got the suited connectors here, Vince. He got the 10-9 of spade. He's going to limp in and make the call here.
Into Thayer Rasmussen, who's got a wired pair of 7s here.
Well, the question is, do you come over the top or you just call also? Thayer's making the call here himself.
Yes, he is. David going out. The Waco Kid won't play his 4-deuce.
So now around to the small blind here. David Haddad, he looks down at King 3 offsuit.
Still trying to get over that devastation of the pair of jacks earlier. Now he's going to call this.
A lot of money in the pot. Only cost him 8,000 more to call.
And now rarely wrong. Mr. Wong, he's got a pair of 3s in the big blind.
Well, he's going all in here, Vince. I actually like this play.
How much?
Everybody limped in. You'd think by raising it 100,000 more, all in, people might abandon ship here. Doesn't look like anybody's real strong because nobody raised it, so why not go ahead and make a play with the 2 3s?
First to act is going to be the Cannon. He goes out with his 9-10.
Please call.
And now the Pope of online poker, Thayer Rasmussen, now with the 7s has got a decision.
Well, even though he's one of the short stacks, he's got about 3 times as many chips as Danny has.
I said nicely, too.
There's a lot of money out there.
Well, Vince, the only way he can be beat is if Danny has an overpair bigger than the 7s.
Me and you.
Waco's like, this is going to be.
He's just got 2 overcards. It'll be a race situation.
I'm all in.
Wow, he's going over the top, all in.
A nice play by Thayer here.
Haddad going out, and Danny Wong standing up.
Do you?
Well, Danny hoping he's got 2 overcards where he can at least be in a race situation. He shakes his head no. When he sees the 2 7s, as the cards lie, he knows he's a substantial underdog now to stay alive in this tournament.
I just see a flop.
Well, this could be the demise of Danny Wong. 6th in Reno last season, 3rd at Bellagio Cup. He really wanted a WPT title, but right now he's going to be a long shot.
Now flop comes King Jack 9 with 2 hearts. That is no help at all to Danny, especially because he's got the 2 black 3s.
Not good for him. Looking very disappointed here. He needs a turnaround in this hand.
Well, if the board paired twice, he'd get a split out of this pot. Or if it came a Queen 10, he'd get a straight where it'd also be a split. Well, there comes the King. So that gives him a couple chances now to get a tie out of this hand, which I'm sure he would love right now.
A little bit of hope there for Danny.
Well, that would happen if a jack or 9 comes off on the board.
Just spike at 3 and get it over with.
So Danny Wong needing help here. Otherwise, he's going to be our 6th place finisher. Well, it's an 8. So that's going to do it for the former WPT finalist, Danny Wong, out in 6th place tonight. But Vince, even though he didn't win that pot, I really like that all-in play by Danny with the 2 3s there. Everybody limped in front of him. He still had about 100,000 left. Why not set it out there? Hope you can pick up the pot as it is. Even if you get called, most likely somebody's going to have 2 overcards where you're in a race situation. Unfortunately for him, Thayer had the 2 7s and he's gone. But truthfully, I like the play.
I hate to see this guy go because he's always so entertaining. He plays really fast. He's a great gambler. Danny Wong out in 6th place, and we are down to 5 players. Stay tuned. We're coming back from Mandalay Bay in just a moment. For more information on the World Poker Tour, log on right now at WPTOnGSN.com.
Making this final table is a huge deal for me. It kind of feels like a dream. I watched every episode of the World Poker Tour, and it was somewhat frustrating to see people and not at least give it a shot.
Welcome back to Vegas and the final table of the Mandalay Bay Poker Championship. I'm Kimberly Lansing, standing in for Layla. The cards are back in the air, so let's go down to Mike and Vince.
When we started this final table, 3 guys had big chips, 3 guys had short stacks. Right now, 3 of them still have short stacks, and only 2 of them have big stacks. That's our chip leader, Sean Buchanan, with $1.8 million, and Jared Hamby with $1.7 million.
Back to the table. It's on the online professional, Thayer Rasmussen. He is going to move it up with a queen 10 of clubs. Going to raise to $45,000.
David Levy going out.
Waco Kid not going to play, and now David Haddad with the button. He has ace, jack of spades. He says all in.
Well, Vince, he's on the short stack at this final table. He's moving all in with the ace, jack of spades.
How much you got,
right behind him, Sean the Cannon Buchanan with big slicks says, how much you got?
4? A little over 4 left.
Well, the pot's been raised and re-raised, but both the guys doing the raising are on the short stacks.
I'm all in.
And he's going all in as well.
Yeah, the Cannon's going to shoot the rockets.
So Thayer quickly gets out of the way. And David Haddad is not going to like it. It's ace-king versus ace-jack. But even with that, he's only about a 2-to-1 underdog.
Well, he came in his second chip position, and it's complete implosion here for David Haddad, former backgammon player. He saw his buddy Phil Locke playing poker. He said, I could do this too.
Yeah, very interesting story on how the guy got started playing poker. Got in this tournament on a $1,000 satellite, his first WPT event ever. Here he is at the final table, but he's going to have to get lucky here, Vince. Well, here comes the flop. It's come queen 5-4. So far, the ace-king out in front. So David's going to have to catch 2 running spades to make a flush, 2 running cards to make a straight, catch a jack to take the lead. If the board paired twice, they would split this pot.
Here comes the turn.
A king comes right off. It's not over.
No. Don't jinx it.
David can catch a 10 and make an ace-high straight and win this pot, but he must have a 10 if he's going to stay alive here.
Sean, almost sadistic smile on his face. Here's the river card.
Well, the 5 of hearts comes off. So David Haddad, who came to this final table in second chip position, is now the second one out.
David Haddad managing a smile, shakes hands. Mr. Haddad, don't feel sad. The money's not too bad. 98 grand, and he's going up to talk to Kimberly.
Thanks, guys. David, you came here second in chips today and got really unlucky.
Well, the big hand was obviously the jacks versus the kings, where I raised from early position and got re-raised by Sean. And in retrospect, I probably should have just folded the hand.
Are you in disbelief right now?
A little bit, yeah. I think I was a little bit nervous, so.
All right, guys, let's get back to the game.
Cash doesn't play.
4 players left. We've got 2 guys on big stacks and 2 on small stacks. Sean Buchanan, everything going his way so far tonight. He's our chip leader with about $2.1 million. Jared Hamby in second place with about $1.7 million. Thayer and David have got their work cut out for him, Vince. Sean Buchanan's going to limp in out of the small blind with the 10-7. And Thayer with the queen jack of clubs says, give us a flop. Now flop has come at jack 9-5. Sean has flopped a gut shot straight draw action on him, and he checks.
Yeah, now Thayer hitting top pair is going to play it slow. He checks as well.
I'm surprised he would check 2 jacks there, Vince. And now the 10 of clubs comes off. Now this gives Sean a pair of 10s and a straight draw, and he's going to bet him.
Yep, he's going to bet 24,000. What a great card there, though, for Thayer.
Well, Vince, he's got top pair and an open-end straight flush draw. I think he'd take this upstairs, but he just opts to call here.
He's going to massage his man. River card coming up. Will it backfire?
Well, Sean's going to have to catch a 10 or a 7 to win this spot, and 8 won't help him. Deuce of spade comes off on the river.
Oh, it seems like just a nice payoff card there. Well, he has checked now. He has slowed down.
He checked because he thinks his opponent might have a flush draw or a straight draw. Up there reaching for chips. Finally, he's going to bet his top pair here, Vince. 42,000. But the way this hand was played, you know, Sean might figure the 2 10s are the best hand here, Vince.
Well, he's going to pay it off.
Well, I don't blame him for calling there. I would, too. His opponent didn't bet on the flop, didn't raise him on the turn.
Well, he got a good massage out of that one, I'll tell you.
Well, he thought there might have had just a flush draw or just a straight draw. Thought the 2 10s were the best hand, paid him off. Unfortunately for him, his opponent was just slow playing top pair.
So very tricky play by Thayer Rasmussen, taking home that pot.
There's a lot of people online that know who I am because I play poker a lot online. Yeah, I'm one of the guys who posts online on all the forums. There's just so many people who are there and just giving their input. It's cool. I just started playing poker because it was fun. Me and my roommate, we just play heads up, see who do dishes and stuff like that. I had to do the chores more often, but eventually I was the winner. Overall, I'm a pretty quiet guy, but since I'm not used to playing big pros live, I just try not to give away anything, so I feel if I talk, I might say something that they could read, so I just try to be quiet so they can't get any tells off me.
23-year-old Thayer Rasmussen, the underground poker hero, takes down that pot.
Yeah, Vince, he's a graduate of Central Florida, where he had a major in legal studies, was actually going to go to law school. He was doing very well in poker, now wants to try poker as a career. Yeah. Going to postpone law school for a while.
Oh, don't let that school thing get in the way of your poker now. All right, action's going to be on Thayer.
And he goes out.
And around to David Levy, who has a queen-jack with the button.
Finally going to play a pot here on the button with the queen-jack. Makes it 45,000 to go.
Waco Kid has gone out, and now Sean, the Cannon Buchanan with 10-6 of hearts. Is he going to speculate?
Well, he's going to call, then. He knows he's up against the short stack of the table. Can't get hurt too bad. Just wants to see a flop with a 10-6 of hearts. Oh, look at this, Vince. Sean Buchanan has flopped a flush.
And the Cannon quickly checks.
David going to make the continuation bet here.
I'm all in.
And all in by Sean Buchanan.
I can't imagine David can get away from this hand, Vince. He's got a pair of jacks with a big flush draw. The only way he's dead in this hand is if his opponent's got an ace-high flush. And then he's not dead. He could back into a full house.
Call.
Well, he's made the call, but right now the former paratrooper has got to pull the reserve shoot, Vince, because he is in trouble. He's going to have help. He needs to catch a heart to win the pot. He could also backdoor a full house.
It's coming red. It's coming red.
Well, David's got a lot of fans in the house because they're all calling for a heart. Right now, that's what it's going to take for him to win this pot.
Well, the former professional soccer player and paratrooper from Israel on the ropes here. 2 cards coming.
Well, the queen of clubs comes off. This gives him a full house draw as well as a flush draw.
I got a straight draw, too.
So David Levy now needs a queen, a jack, or a heart to win this pot.
Will the Cannon blow David Levy out of this race right now? It's coming down to the river.
Oh.
There's the 8 of hearts comes off. So David Levy has outdrawn Sean Buchanan to stay alive. And even Sean smiles when he loses a pot, Vince. But look at the fans going wild for David Levy. First pot he's played, he was all in. He was up against it, had to get lucky to stay alive, and he did.
The former professional soccer player gets his first goal of the evening. And with that, we have to take a break. So we're coming back with more from Mandalay Bay. Stay with us.
I'm one of the ones that never won big, but always made profit every year. I won a lot of tournaments, small ones, medium ones. I've been in a lot of final tables. So I definitely paid my due, and I've been close many times. This is definitely the time to get lucky. This is what I've been missing.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. The Mandalay Bay Poker Championships from Las Vegas continue. I'm Vince Van Patten with Mike Sexton. 4 players remain. And don't forget, these are the pesky guys that all the poker world knows. But now they have their shot at a big title here to become a star.
Well, you're right, Vince. They might not be the recognized faces that people see on television all the time. But I can tell you, folks, these guys can play. Our chip leader, Sean Buchanan, with $1.7 million in chips, has made the money 5 times on the World Poker Tour. David Levy in C2 has made the money 10 times.
It's going to be on David Levy, who just doubled up. This time he's got a 6 deuce of spades.
David just proved timing is everything. And luck helps a lot.
And he goes out. Now the Waco kid, Jared Hamby, with ace-4 clubs, is going to make a raise.
Makes it $43,000 to go.
Into the cannon. Sean Buchanan's going to lay down a 10-7 of hearts.
Now there, Rasmussen with the ace-7 of diamonds in the big blind.
Call.
He's going to make the call. So two-way action here between Thayer and Jared. Thayer out front with the ace-7 of diamonds. He's up against the ace-4 clubs. Well, the flop comes Jack 10-7 with 2 spades. There is flop bottom pair. Action is on him. He's going to check.
Gives the green light to the Waco kid, but no, he slows down. Not going to make the continuation bet. He checks.
And the turn card's a Jack of clubs. This gives Jared an ace-high flush draw. They're still out in front with 2 pair. He's got jacks and 7s. Action's on him, but he checks.
Man, Waco kid peeking out from under that cap. He sees a check, and he's getting busy with his hands and his chips.
Well, Vince, I don't blame you. His opponent's checked twice in a row. You've got the ace-high flush draw. You don't want to give your opponent a free chance to catch a card that could beat you.
That's a $58,000 bet into the Pope of online poker, who has 7s and jacks at this point.
Well, Vince, there's no way he's going to put him on a jack or a 10 in this spot or an overpair. Otherwise, the guy would have bet the flop.
Well, he could have been playing it slow, but you're right, most of the time you're going to protect your hand, and he's getting a call out of it.
Well, Thayer does make the call. Right now, he's out in front with 2 pair, jacks and 7s. Comes the river card. Oh, the king of clubs comes off. Jared has made an ace-high flush. He now has the best hand. Action back on Thayer. Well, he's going to check.
Yeah, he does the wise thing there.
So Jared reaching for chips here, trying to figure out how much he can bet with this ace-high flush to get called. And look at this, Vince. A very small bet, only $68,000 into a pot that's got well over $200,000 in it. It's like a please beg me, call me type bet, isn't it?
Oh, it's just like, you know, help me pay for my cat food at home. $68,000, please pay me off.
Well, let's see if Thayer picks up on that small bet as a beg me style bet. And indeed he is. A good laydown by Thayer Rasmussen there. But Jared Hamby is going to pick up that pot. And Vince, look at Jared. Heaven forbid if he goes on and wins this tournament, Vince, everybody might be wearing those ugly Baylor hats.
It's absolutely unwashed for sure. Looks like it's gone through many a hayride, but right there, the Waco kid taking down a nice one.
It's definitely not easy to become a poker pro. It's a lot of hard work. It was something that came naturally to me, but it doesn't always come naturally to everyone. But it's something that takes hours. I mean, just thousands and thousands of hours and hundreds of thousands of hands to be able to even start beating the game, really. You know, it's tough. I went to Baylor University for about a year out of high school, and school wasn't really for me. My family is very supportive. At first, of course, they were very upset that I, didn't want to keep going to college, but they never gave me any money or anything. And they said, you're on your own. If you can do it, do it. And now that I've been having some success and everything, my parents are big fans. I actually haven't even told them about this final table yet because I don't want to disappoint them. I want to win it and then let them know.
He's been a professional for 3 years. This is his 3rd WPT cash. First final table. Very impressive so far. Back down to the table. It is going to be on the cannon. He's got a jack 4 this time. He folds it. And now Thayer Rasmussen, the Pope of online poker, with a 7-6 with the button. He's going to splash around here.
On the button in position. He's going to raise it. Makes it $45,000 to go.
The tight David Levy going out.
Around to Jared Hamby, who's got the 10-8 of hearts. He wants to see a flop with it. He makes the call.
45.
Because of the WPT cam, we can see that he's got the best hand, but he can't know that.
Same 2 young players going at it. Here's the flop.
Well, flop comes 7-4-4 with 2 hearts. Jared has flopped a flush draw and checks. Thayer has flopped 2 pair.
You're in position. Do you bet it?
And then she raised before the flop with a 7-6. It's got to be a dream flop for you when it comes 7 high.
Oh, he's checked
with
it.
Another pair, but he checks incredibly. Now a 5 comes off. So Jared now has a flush draw and a straight draw. And Vince, I don't blame him for betting here. When his opponent checked on the flop, Looks like he's got two big cards. Well, that flop didn't help him, so why not go ahead and bet? Try to steal the pot right here.
Well, it's 57,000.
Well, Vince, he's got 2 sevens and an open-end straight draw here. I'll be shocked if he doesn't come over the top here, but he's not. He's just making the call here. Very conservative play by Thayer.
Going down to the river. Waco Kid peeking over at chip stacks, trying to figure out how much he can make if he hits his flush. And it's an 8, and just like that, Thayer Rasmussen has hit his straight, but Jared Hamby has now 8s and 4s.
Well, you have to be fearful of the straight draw if you're in Jared's seat, but it's not slowing Jared down. He's making a bet, but a smallish bet. He's only betting 67,000 into a pot with well over 200,000 in it, so it's a feel me out type bet as well as a value bet, so to speak. And now let's see what Thayer's going to do with his straight. Be a little surprised if he just doesn't go ahead and raise here, but I was surprised he didn't bet the flop and surprised he didn't raise on the turn, so maybe nothing would surprise me anymore. Well, Vince, he just makes the call, does not raise, just in case Jared had a full house here, but very conservative play by Thayer in my mind there, on the flop, on the turn, and on the river.
Well, he's not going to really get called unless he's tied or gets beat, so it's not a good raise. I don't believe. I think he did the right thing, but he's taking down a pretty good pot. Nothing to be ashamed of.
Well, he does win the pot, but I'm just shocked he didn't bet on the flop and raise on the turn.
I think he didn't bet the flop.
Good thing, yeah.
I was going all in, yeah, for sure.
The Pope of online poker, Thayer Rasmussen, just taking down the Waco Kids chips. 4 players remain. Very crafty play at Mandalay, and we're coming right back for more on the World Poker Tour.
Could you become poker's next shark?
Test your skills at WPT on GSN.com.
Gold building really represents gold in its purest form, which means wealth. It means luxury, it's polished, and we think all of those stand for what Mandalay Bay represents. And we felt whoever won the championship would really want to make a statement about where they had been, where they had won that tournament. So we did, as you see next to me here, a trophy that was exceptionally large. With a trophy like this, you're going to see it, it's big, you're going to definitely feel it.
Welcome back to the WPT and the coolest spot on the Vegas Strip, Mandalay Bay, where tonight's winner will take home over $750,000.
Who is going to go home with that WPT title, that enormous bar tab that you always get, and hundreds of newfound friends? Who knows? Let's go find out. Let's go back down to the table.
Oh, boy.
David Levy going out with a 9 deuce.
Now around to the small blind. Jared Hamby looks down at Jack 7 offsuit. He makes the call. Going to be conservative here because he's up against the chip leader here. These are the 2 big guns going at it. Sean says give us a flop.
Yep, the cannon has a 7-5.
Here comes a flop. 5-4 deuce. Sean has flopped top pair. Jared has nothing, of course. Actions on Jared. He's going to bet here, Vince. Look at this. 25,000. And quickly gets called by Sean, who has top pair.
And the speed of that call is very disturbing if you're Jared. Here we go to the turn.
Well, turn card is an 8. Now this gives Jared a gut shot straight draw, but he checks. Sean, of course, has the same straight draw, but also has a pair of 5s. He bets $35,000 into a $90,000 pot, and he's going to take down the hand.
And just like that, the cannon collects the pot.
You gotta love the way Sean Buchanan plays poker, Vince. He's got great instincts, a great feel for the game, as we say. He's a protege of a guy we've seen on the WPT before, another Canadian, Greg Mueller.
Proteges in poker. That's great to hear. Used to be great artists had proteges like Da Vinci. That was about it.
Well, that's what's happened with the evolution of the WPT. The new players have watched these WPT champions. They idolize their play. So, yes, you do have poker proteges nowadays.
All right, action's on Sean Buchanan. Looks like he's getting bundled up for this event.
He's got the hood on, the hat on, the sunglasses on. He's got it going, and he's going to raise it here with the King-8 of clubs.
To his old nemesis, Thayer Rasmussen, and he's going to lay down a Jack-9 into David Levy, who's picked up a wired pair of 7s. He's going to make the call.
Well, a little surprised David doesn't come over the top of him right there, but just opts to make the call for $42,000.
The Waco Kid, Jared Hamby, with a 10-4 diamonds.
He's got the Highway Patrol hand. A lot of money out there, $108,000. Going to cost him $26,000 more to make the call, and he does so. So we've got 3-way action here. So everybody looking to hit something. Here comes a flop. Oh, what a flop for David Levy. He has flopped a full house and quickly checks it. Jared checking behind him.
But look at this. The cannon with 3 8s. He's coming out to play. Looks like a $75,000 bet with his 3/8. What an opportunity for David Levy. A dream flop for him. A guy betting in front of you.
Well, the question is, what do you do here? You just call and try to slow play this hand, hope the guy will bet again in case he doesn't have an 8 in his hand? Or do you go ahead and raise it right here, hope he's got an 8, where you can get all your money in and double up?
Well, it is going to be a raise, $145,000 in addition.
Well, Jared quickly going out.
He called in.
And Sean saying, how much is that?
Well, it's going to cost him another $145,000 to make the call, but with 3/8, you'd think he'd just go ahead and go over the top of him right here, Vince. Especially with the short chip stack that David Levy has. He's only got about 300,000 left in chips. I mean, you'd feel sick if the guy had a 9-10 and you just called here and he made it straight and you lost his pot.
The cannon could backfire right here. But he's just going to call it here.
Well, he does just make the call with the 3/8. So, Vince, it appears he's trying to slow play the 3/8, but little does he know, he's behind.
Both slow playing each other. Here we go with the turn.
Well, the 4 hearts comes on the turn. David quickly checks.
Yeah, trying to trap here.
Action's on Sean.
Will the cannon misfire here?
I'm all in.
There, he goes all in.
Oh. Well, Vince, he's got to think he's got the best hand here.
Quick call by David Levy.
Well, David Levy with the full house. And Vince, he is in great shape to double up yet again at this final table. So right now, Sean Buchanan must catch a king, an 8, or a 4 if he's going to eliminate David Levy from this tournament here.
That is sick.
Well, this hand can bring back bad memories for David Levy. The WPT World Championship with 13 players left. It comes Jack, 10. He flopped 10s full. His opponent had ace, jack. Made a full house on the river to knock him out of that tournament. 13th place. Could it happen again?
Crowd going wild. Can David Levy's hand hold up? Here we go with the river.
He needs a king, an 8, or a 4. It's a deuce. David Levy has done it. He has doubled up. The crowd high-fiving him. He is all smiles right now. Vince, David Levy has fought his way back from the short stack to being in the thick of this championship.
I'll tell you, that is just one big cold deck. Devastating blow there for Sean Buchanan. And right now, David Levy with a ton of chips. The veteran at the table shining. Stay tuned. 4 players remain and we're coming right back.
Hello, beautiful. Oh, yeah.
No one to play with. So play online at partypoker.com. It's fun, it's easy, it's the world's largest poker room.
You folded? On the TV bubble, it was Barry Greenstein. I actually busted him. Every time you bust Barry, he signs a copy of his book, Ace on the River, and gives like details about the hand. I haven't read a book. I've never read a poker book. I'll probably read this one though, I think, just because of how I got it.
Well, let's go back to the World Poker Tour. The Mandalay Bay Poker Championship continues from Las Vegas. 4 players remain here tonight, going after $750,000 first place prize. And right now, what a story we have. Jared Hamby, the college dropout who wants to make good. He's got $1.6 million. He's the chip leader. Sean the Cannon Buchanan, he's in second chip position with 1.3.
David Levy's cashed 10 times in WPT events. Sean Buchanan 5 times. And Jared Hamby, this is his 3rd WPT cash.
And right now, the antes and blinds are going up $3,000, $12,000 and $24,000 for the blinds. Action is going to be on Sean Buchanan with a king 10.
The Canadian just doubled up David Levy in the last pot, but it's not slowing him down. He raises here, makes it $51,000 to go.
Into Thayer, his old nemesis. He's got a 4 deuce. He won't play that.
And David Levy folding as well, but Jared Hamby looks down to 2 7s in the big blind.
Well, that's the lucky hand that just doubled up for David Levy in the last hand.
David called before the flop and ended up doubling up, so Jared's going to try the same thing. Here comes that flop. Let's come queen 4-4 with 2 diamonds. Jared's still out front with the 2 7s, but checks. Let's see if Sean will make the continuation bet. Well, he does so with nothing. He's just got the king high.
Yes, he does.
He's going to bet $72,000. Now you're sitting in Jared's seat. What do you do with 2 7s here? Your opponent raised before the flop. He's betting on the flop. There's an overcard out there. I'll tell you what you do. You just come right over the top to find out where you are right now. That's what Jared Hamby is doing, and he's going to bet $202,000. He has re-raised it $130,000 more.
With the ultimate play, the check and raise to the discomfort of the cannon with just king high.
And Sean can't stand the heat. And Vince, I really like that play by Jared. If he doesn't make a move right there and take the lead in the pot, as we say, to find out where he's at, meaning you want to find out if your opponent's got a queen in his hand or a bigger pair or perhaps a big flush draw. So go ahead and raise right there. Don't commit any more chips or be guessing all the way as your opponent continues to bet the rest of the way. So this youngster has got plenty of game, no doubt about it. We're getting a glimpse of that here.
Well, grew up in Waco, Texas, now living in Las Vegas, 25 years old, and he is showing his stuff here tonight. Back to the table on the online pro, Theo Rasmussen. And this time, he's short stacked with just over 500,000. He's got a king, 5 of spades.
Well, that's good enough for him to raise advance. He comes in for 65,000.
David Levy going out with his ace high.
Jared Hamby in the small blind. He lays down the 8-6.
And the only one to beat is the cannon.
But Sean Buchanan has queen jack, and he wants to see a flop. He's got money invested in the big blind, so he's going to make the little call here of another 41,000. Here comes the flop. It's come ace, 4 deuce. Sean with the queen high checks, and incredibly, Thayer checks right behind him. Most guys that raise pre-flop would bet that.
The 10 on the turn. Well, Sean quickly checked it.
Well, now this gives Sean a gut shot straight draw. King would give him a straight. Well, Thayer has the best hand with the king high. He is reaching for chips, Vince, and he is going to bet 95,000. Well, he didn't bet on the flop, but he is betting on the turn.
95.
The question is, does Sean now want to make this call with just the gut shot straight draw? Remember, there's 2 hearts out there, meaning if a king, queen, or jack of hearts pops up, there's a chance your opponent could have you beat even if you make the straight. What a play this would be to raise here. And that's what he's doing, Vince.
Yeah.
Wow. He's making a $215,000 to go. He has check raised here. He's going with his poker instincts that tell him if his opponent had a pair of aces on the flop, he would have bet on the flop. He didn't. So why not just go ahead and take this hand away from him?
And look at this. He shows the hand. That'll get you shot in Deadwood or put a smile on your face at Mandalay Bay.
You know, Sean showing great poker instincts there. He didn't put his opponent on an ace because he checked on the flop. Just thought he could make a bet and take the pot away from his opponent. That's what separates the best from the rest.
Well, you talk about instincts, and that's kind of undefinable. You know, it's something that really can't be taught. It's like you're jumping off the ledge with faith. And right there, the young guy from Canada did it perfectly. All right, action back on Sean. And he's got a nice little 6-7 of spades, a suited connector.
Just won that last pot with a bluff, so why not go ahead and play this one? He comes in for 48,000.
Into Mr. Online Thayer. He's got a queen jack this time with the button.
Not a bad hand. He's in position, but after just getting bluffed out, needs a moment to simmer down.
But look at this. David Levy with the Gretzky hand, Mr. 99, just calling.
Well, it's a shock that he's not coming over the top here, Vince. Man, that's a big hand in a 4-handed poker game.
Well, he's going to let Jared in because there's a lot of money out there.
How much you make it?
And he's going to make the call.
Well, that's the problem. When you limp in out of the small blind, you actually invite the big blind to call because there's so much money in the pot. All right, the flop comes ace, jack, 5 with 2 spades. David checks the 2 nines. Jared out in front with the 2 jacks now.
Get chips out. It looks like $80,000 with his jacks. Now, the cannon right behind him is 4 flushed.
Well, he's going to make the call. Doesn't raise with the 4 spades, just calls with them.
Smooth calls. David Levy going away with his 9s. So 2-handed action here. Jacks up against a 4 flush.
I believe David could have won this pot by re-raising before the flop with the 2 nines. I don't think either one of them could have stood it.
No.
As it is, he's the only one out and they're still playing. And the 8 of spades pops off. Sean has made the flush. Jared does have the jack of spade in his hand. He has the bigger flush draw with the 2 jacks. He checks it.
Wise enough to slow down.
Sean is reaching for chips.
He's going to try to trap here. He is checked on the turn with his flush, going down to the river.
Could be a little dangerous because his opponent could catch a spade and beat him, but no, the king of diamonds comes off. So Sean Buchanan is going to win this pot with the flush. The question is Jared going to fire again? Well, Jared bets $126,000. Now well over $300,000 in the pot. So this sort of a defensive bet for Jared. The question is, what is Sean going to do with the flush? I'd be very surprised if he wouldn't raise it here, Vince. He set him up. He got him to bet on the river. Now let's go ahead and raise him with the flush.
Oh, it's a beautiful spot to be in right now.
Raise 300 more.
Well, indeed, that's what's going to happen. Sean raises with the flush, and quickly Jared mucks the 2 jacks. So Sean, who made his hand on the turn, cleverly checked it, got Jared to bet at the river. Then he raised him, takes down that pot.
He started to pick on Jared.
And you see a little look of frustration on Jared Hamby right there. Kind of picked me off like a cherry on a tree right there.
There's a whole lot more from the WPT at Mandalay Bay, so stick around. Welcome back to the Vegas Strip and the final table of the Mandalay Bay Poker Championship. I'm Kimberly, and here's what's happened so far. The night began with 6 hopefuls looking for their first WPT title. But for young gun Danny Wong, it was deja vu all over again as he once again exited a WPT final table in 6th place. Next, David Haddad was blasted out of the bay by a cannon, leaving just 4 players left in Las Vegas. 3 talented rookies and 1 old-school poker pro, all trying to capture the dream of a WPT championship and the reality of a first-place prize worth $750,000. Now back to the WPT's own poker sharks, Mike Sexton and Vince Van Patten.
Sean the Cannon Buchanan has most of the chips, $1.8 million. In second is the Waco kid, Jared Hamby. He's got about $1.4 million.
David Levy in 3rd place with about $1 million in chips, and on the short stack right now, Thayer Rasmussen.
And it's going to be on the online pro, Thayer Rasmussen. He's got a king 5 of spades this time.
He's been playing a very tight, solid game. He lays this hand down. David Levy, extremely tight player tonight also, lays his hand down as well. Going to let the 2 chip leaders fight it out here.
Okay, into Jared Hamby in the small blind. He's got a queen 6.
He is going to raise the chip leader right here. Makes it $67,000 to go with the queen 6 offsuit. Jared not paying a whole lot of attention. He should know by now that Sean is what we call a defender of the blind. His favorite player is Phil Ivey, and we know he defends a lot of blinds, as do many of the great players like Gus Hansen, Daniel Negreanu, and Eric Lindgren.
We go with the flop, 10-9-7, all clubs.
Certainly no help to either player.
Well, Jared just with an inside straight draw, but not much when those 3 clubs come out. But he's going to bet it.
He knows that 70% of the time your opponent misses the flop. He's hoping that's one of those times right here. He leads out and bets.
82,000.
Incredibly, Sean looked like he was contemplating re-raising there, Vince. Had he done so, he'd have won that pot, but he opted to give it up.
I had no else. It doesn't matter. You can't hit every flop, Sean. I can try, though.
Well, Vince, what we're seeing so far is the 2 chip leaders seem to play a lot more pots than the other 2 guys. They're not afraid to play post-flop. They're not afraid to raise before the flop. They're not afraid to defend blinds, whereas the other 2 guys, even when they get pretty big hands, just like to call. They don't like to come over the top.
Well, you know, it's different styles, but the great players, you know, they like to play a lot of hands, so that gives them the edge of deception.
Well, action's on our chip leader, Sean Buchanan. He looks down at blackjack. He's got the ace-jack. He's going to raise it. Makes it $59,000 to go.
Into the short stack.
Small in.
There. He's got ace-10. He says all in.
Well, Vance, he's been pushed around about all he can stand. He's on the short stack here. Knows he's got to make something happen. Opts to do so with the ace-10.
Now right behind him, David Levy with an ace-9 of diamonds.
Part of David's problem is that Sean is still in the pot.
Oh, he does the right thing.
So David does lay down the ace-9. Jared out as well.
You pulled in? Yeah.
Sean Buchanan wanting to know how much it's going to cost him. There's nearly $400,000 in the pot.
59, right?
Going to cost him about $220,000 to make the call.
You got to do 7 again, kid?
I mean, mathematically, he's almost getting the right price to call, Vince, if his opponent's got anything other than specifically 2 aces. Well, he's got the chips. He could afford to make the call.
219?
On the other hand, Thayer's played very tight at this final table, and you just hate to double up a tight player when you got him down on a short stack.
Thayer has to sweat this out, and he looks a little nervous there. Now, he is an online professional that said he had a lot of fear about playing in a real live game.
His fear was, would they read him well? And right there, you can see a little nervous look in his eyes. Will the Canadian pick up on it? Well, Sean has made the call, and what a call it is. And Vince, he is going to be tickled pink when he sees Thayer's hand.
And you see, if you're home playing online, you can run out of the room and scream. Here, you just can't do that.
Sean, a little over a 2-1 favorite to win this pot and eliminate Thayer Rasmussen from this tournament.
And the cannon is sitting pretty against the Pope. Ace-Jack versus Ace-10.
Well, slightly over 2-1 favorite to win this pot and increase his chip lead. Everyone's sweating the flop. Here it comes.
Thayer needs some luck. Will he get it here? Not there.
Well, flop comes Queen 6-3. So Thayer's going to have to catch a 10 to take the lead, 2 running cards to make a straight, or if the board paired twice, they would split this pot. Right now, Thayer in dire straits. Thayer needs to say a prayer, Vince, to stay alive.
Very depressed there. He needs a lot of luck. Thayer, can he get it? Not there.
Well, the board pairs 6s, so this gives Thayer some more outs, as we say. He can now split the pot. If a 3, king, a queen, or an ace comes up, he'll win the pot if a 10 comes up.
The cannon 1 card away from eliminating another player at the table. Coming down to the river.
Well, it's a 7, so that's going to do it. The cannon, Sean Buchanan, making cannon fodder out of Thayer Rasmussen there.
They're getting up from the table. A good sport. Going to take home $131,000. And right now, you got to say that the mass is finally over for the Pope of online poker, Thayer. We are down to 3. Stay tuned. We're coming back with more action from Mandalay Bay in just a few moments. Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. The Mandalay Bay Poker Championship continues right now. Sean the Cannon Buchanan out in front with $2 million in second chip position. The Waco kid, Jared Hamby, he's got about 1.5. David Levy from Israel, now living in Vegas, down to about $1 million.
So 3 guys left fighting it out for the $750,000 first place prize and that coveted WPT title.
Back at the table, the cannon quickly folding to David Levy with an 8-5 and a small blind. He's going to call it.
Well, he nips in and makes the call, and Jared with the Queen Jack says, give us a flop.
Unknown pros here with a shot of a lifetime to take home a WPT title. All at stake right now. Here's the flop.
Well, the flop comes 8-7-3, all spades. David Levy has flopped top pair with a flush draw and checks, and Jared Hamby with absolutely nothing fires $31,000 at the pot.
David, he's not going to quit there. He goes over the top, makes it $75,000 to go, and a quick fold by the Waco kid.
Well, Vance, that play didn't work out for Jared Hamby, but I like the fact that he bet there when David checked to him.
It looks so good when he check raises.
David's been playing very tight to get to this position. David, of course, a wily veteran. Surely he's going to understand that he's got to step it up a gear or two here, Vince. He's going to have to change gears, if we say, if he wants to step up on that winner's platform.
A lot of people think I'm a very tight player, which in a way I am, but I gamble when I need to, and I go far. It's not because I'm playing tight. It's because a lot of time I'm the unlucky guy. I played in the very first World Poker Tour event, and I finished 9 in that event. There was 6 players on TV, and I was unlucky, so I didn't make it. I've been waiting and waiting, and finally I made it. To win a World Poker Tour will be like basically close the circle of my wishes. This is what I'm missing in my career.
David Levy starting to move his chips around, former professional soccer player and paratrooper. Now, Mike, you were a paratrooper as well, right?
I was. I was a paratrooper in the Army, and you got an extra $55 a month when you signed up for jump school back in those days, Vince, and that was big money back then. You got to take a chance once in a while.
All right, going back to the table, it's going to be on Jared Hamby. He has ace-3. He's going to raise. 70,000 is the number.
Sean Buchanan dumping the AC-deucey.
And the paratrooper David Levy with a pair of deuces, just going to call it.
Yep, he's got the 2 ducks, wants to see a flop. Always hope to flop a set when you have a small pair. Well, the flop comes 8-8-6, so David out in front with the 2 pair, but he checks.
Yes, he does. And Jared Hamby has bet 85,000 and just a call by David.
Well, David does not raise with his 2 pair. And the turn card is a 6. Now, David Levy has the worst hand you could have right now. 8s and 6s with a deuce kicker.
But now he's going to bet.
Now he's going to represent. that he had some of that flop as he leads out and bets 150,000. Jared, of course, is not going for it because David didn't raise on the flop. He thinks his ace kicker with the 2 pair on the board is the best hand, and indeed that's the case now.
Pretty solid call there, though. Not that easy to do.
Now an ace comes off.
I have an ace. I have an ace.
Well, David Levy's going to be done with it here. Aces up are going to win this pot. David Levy is playing the board.
Your flush draw? I thought you might have had it 5 or 7.
So Jared Hamby takes down that pot, and Vince, as well as Jared played that hand, I think you have to fault David Levy a little bit for not check raising on the flop there to find out where he was at. Test the water, see where you're at. If your opponent comes back over the top of you, now you can get rid of the ducks. But let's just see if he's got the 2 overcards. That's several opportunities I believe David Levy has passed up at this final table to pick up some chips and win some pots, where instead he lost them.
You know, it's like a jockey on a horse and sees a little hole opening up. You know, you got to take that split-second chance right then and there, or you're not going to win that race. Well, it's the same in No Limit Texas Hold'em. A couple chances you get at these tournaments. Otherwise, you don't take down a WPT title.
Like in horse racing, in poker, you got to go to the whip sometimes.
All right, back to the table. It's going to be on. Sean drops the Doyle Brunson hand 10 deuce. And now David Levy with a 10-5 going to call it. And the Waco Kid with a 10-4 diamonds. Content just to see the flop.
So here we go. It's 10-5 versus 10-4. 2 blinds fighting it out. Here comes the flop. The flop is King Jack 6 with 2 spades.
Helps neither player. They both check. Here comes the turn. It's a 9 of diamonds. Both have an inside straight draw now.
Well, action's on David Levy here. Convinced he has nothing but a gut shot straight draw, but he is reaching for chips here.
That is right. $70,000. He's going to try to steal this one.
Might be tough to do because Jared Hamby now has a flush draw to go along with that gut shot straight draw. But he lays it down, Vince. Oh. Wow, what a lay down by Jared there.
Yeah, he was 4 flushed right there.
And what a bold bet by David Levy.
A good turn card for me, Dave.
He recognized when Jared didn't bet on the flop, chances are he didn't have any of that, so why not go ahead and try to take it down on the turn.
And the Wonder Cam comes up, and look at this, it's a Queen of Hearts. They both would have hit a straight.
Almost raised you. I had a diamond draw.
Well, there's one you chalk up to David Levy's aggressiveness and Jared Hamby for being a little tentative, not playing with a straight and flush draw on the turn.
Stay tuned. We're coming back with more action in just a few moments.
This season on the World Poker Tour, I don't think there's going to be one guy who dominates what you've seen so far. You've got John Little won a tournament, Kevin Saul.
That's a lot of chatter.
There's this generation of players, and they sort of got started when the World Poker Tour started. So now there's this wave of people who are amazingly talented, just turning 21 or in their early 20s, and they're sort of taking over the poker world with this, because there's so many of them, and they're so talented, and they have no fear. There's still a lot of people who are just itching to get in here and start playing these tournaments. So my prediction is that this wave is just going to continue, and there's going to be a bunch of young 21, 22-year-olds just dominating for a long time.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. The antes and blinds are going up. $5,000 antes. Blinds are going to be $20,000 and $40,000. And right now, Jared Hamby, the Waco Kid, is out in front with close to $1.9 million. Sean the Cannon Buchanan with a 1.8. And David Levy is on the short stack with $850. Action's going to be on him.
Well, he picks up his favorite hand, at least tonight, 2 sevens.
Yeah.
That's where he won his biggest pot so far when he flopped 7s full. He's going to raise it up here, makes it $150,000 to go.
Right behind him, trouble here, the Waco Kid with the Gretzky hand, number 99.
Well, this could spell big trouble for David Levy. Jared with the overpair here. Let's see how he plays him.
Raise.
Well, he is going to re-raise here. He's going to make it $420,000 to go. Sean quickly going out.
And now back into David Levy. His lucky hand before, pair of 7s.
Tough decision as to what to do now. He's got the middle pair. What do you do with 2 sevens now? You bet the guy behind you's come over the top for $420,000. Well, David's pulled the trigger for everything, folks. Well, he's put the whole $850 out there.
I call.
And Jared is making the call here.
Yeah, the Waco Kid's going to make the call. He's going to love it when he turns up the 9s.
Well,
a dominating hand.
9s versus 7s.
Well, he is absolutely thrilled here to see David Levy's hand. David Levy with the 2 walking sticks, and Vince, if he didn't get some help, he'll be walking out of here in 3rd place.
No doubt about it. The senior at the table, 44-year-old David Levy, who's played 52 WPT events. cashed in 10, and this time a shot at a title and Stardom in a lot of trouble.
Well, as the cards lie, Jared about an 80% favorite to win this hand. So Vince, the former paratrooper, is going to have to pull the reserve chute to stay alive in this tournament. Let's see if he can do it.
All right. Here come the first three.
Well, flop comes ace, jack, 8, all diamonds, and Jared holds his head.
David Levy does have a diamond.
Look at Jared Hamby. He can't believe it. You got your opponent hemmed up about as good as you can, and all of a sudden he flops a flush draw, wears right back into thing.
Could this be the destiny for David? Here comes the turn card.
Well, he made a flush on the river to stay alive early at this final table. Can he possibly do it again?
Not there, he doesn't.
Well, the board pairs jacks. Now that takes the 9 of diamonds away from David Levy. That flush will do him no good because Jared will have a full house. David Levy must catch a diamond that's not the 9 of diamonds.
What a big card right now in Las Vegas for David Levy. Let's take a peek.
Well, Vince, he caught a heart on the river a minute ago, but no, the 3 of spades comes off. So that's going to do it. The former professional soccer player, David Levy, gets the red card. He's out in 3rd place.
That is right. David Levy goes to the side, shakes hands. What an effort. He's going to pick up $229,000. And just like that, we are down to 2 players at Mandalay Bay. The heads-up action about to begin. But first, our money presentation.
And out come the Mandalay Bay Beauties with the cash.
Yes, indeed. They are floating their way up to the green felt with the big-time cash. What a sight to behold.
And Vince, in addition to that cash, take a look at that beautiful trophy the winner gets tonight. Certainly one of the most beautiful, if not the greatest, on the World Poker Tour.
They say it's about 200 pounds. It is absolutely gorgeous.
Well, great opportunity for both of these young pros to capture their first World Poker Tour title.
The prize is going to make $768,000. It's the Waco kid, Jared Hamby, going up against Sean the Cannon Buchanan for the title. Stay tuned. We're coming back for more on the World Poker Tour.
Think you can do better? Go to WPT on GSN.com. Welcome back to the Mandalay Bay Poker Championship. We're about to start heads-up action. I just spoke to the players, so let's see what they had to say. How do you feel about this final table?
There's a lot of tough players. It went kind of faster than I thought it would, but it's been fun.
And Jared? What's your experience with Jared?
Played with Jared for like 2 days, and really, really tough player. And he plays a lot of heads-up online and a lot of tournaments, so it's going to be a fun match.
How do you feel about this? It's your first WPT final table.
I'm ready to sit down and win. That's that's the only thing in my mind right now is winning this tournament. So I feel great. I've worked really hard to get here. I've put a lot of effort into my tournament game, and now I'm on the edge of accomplishing one of my main goals.
And your competitor, Sean Buchanan.
He's going to be a tough opponent to play head up. Even before this final table, I had a feeling it was going to be me and him, and it should be fun.
So as we start heads-up play, Jared Hamby out in front, a little over $2.8 million in chips. Sean Buchanan starting out with about $1.7 million.
Well, it's very exciting. 2 young players in their 20s going after big-time money. You look at them, you say to yourself, they could be driving down a dirt road in Texas, in a pickup truck drinking beers. But no, they're going after this kind of money.
And Vince, could we see yet another Canadian champion on the World Poker Tour? The most famous, of course, former WPT players of the year, Daniel Negreanu and Gavin Smith. We've got a number of them that have won. Could one more do it?
All right, action on Jared. He is called with a 9-8. Sean Buchanan.
With the king-queen, he's raised it, Vance. He's made it 100,000 straight. Well, Jared's going to make the call with the 9-8. So over 200,000 in the pot. Here comes our flop. And flop comes 9, deuce, deuce.
And Buchanan hitting nothing there, but he's going to fire. Nevertheless, looks like $95,000 with the king high.
Well, Jared Hamby has flopped 2 pair. He's got 9s and deuces. See how he's going to play it. He's just going to make the call here. A dangerous play, and that you give your opponent a free card to win the pot.
Here comes the turn.
Well, another 9 comes off. This gives Jared Hamby a full house.
It's on the cannon first again. Well, he has checked it. Not going to fall into any traps, and there's the bet.
Jared is betting $115,000 with 9s full here, Vince. And I got to say, I'm a little puzzled by that bet. And I say that because what can your opponent call you with or play with? I think if you're sitting in Jared's seat right there and you've made nines full, go ahead and check it there and hope the guy catches something on the river where he can call you, or if he gets nothing, to bluff at the pot. But
Mike, I have to totally agree. You cannot bet that and chase your man away. That's a huge hand. You got to get paid off. Let the guy bluff at it on the river. Big mistake there by Jared Hamby.
Well, you can understand betting, Vince, in situations where you think your opponent could outdraw you and catch a card that could beat you. But in this case, when you've got nines full, you have to realize that there's no card in the deck he can catch to beat you.
Well, I don't think he's going to lose any sleep over it. He just keeps counting the chip stack. He's got about $3 million in front of him. Not too bad.
Now action's on Sean. He looks down at the 5-4 hearts, and he's going to call.
Waco Kid behind him with an uneventful 10 deuce, the Doyle Brunson hand.
That's the hand named after the legendary Doyle Brunson, WPT champion.
And he's not going to raise with it. So here we go with the flop. It's a queen, queen, 8, helping neither player.
Well, action's on Jared. He's going to check, and Sean checks right behind him. So here we go to the turn. 7 of hearts comes off. Well, Jared quickly bets 50,000 with the 10 deuce. But look at Sean Buchanan. He's got the gut shot straight draw and the flush draw. And Vince, he's going to make what we call the semi-bluff. He's coming over the top. He's betting 150,000 right here.
And what a feeling it is when you're going to make that bluff and you see the cards being mucked in front of you before you even get your chips in.
Let me explain the difference of what a great play that was that Sean made earlier at this final table. The same scenario came up with Jared Hamby when he made a gut shot straight and a flush draw on the turn with the 10-4 diamonds. His opponent let out. He mucked his hand. In this situation, Sean Buchanan came over the top with the semi-bluff to pick up that pot. Just terrific poker by the Canadian right there.
Very crafty play by both young men. 2 players remain in the heads-up battle. Stay tuned. We're coming back with more action here on the World Poker Tour. Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. The Mandalay Bay Poker Championship continues. Heads-up action. At the start of this, we were talking about the pesky pros, the guys that all the pros know. They're tough players, waiting for their opportunity. Well, tonight is it, and we have 2 young guns going after this title.
Well, Vince, these are the guys that kick the stars off the stage. I'm talking about guys like Barry Greenstein, Chao Chang, John Juanda, Chris Bell, WPT champion Ryan Dowd, all made the second table here on the WPT, but couldn't quite make it to the final. It's come down to these 2 guys. I guarantee you some of the big names know these guys now.
Well, Jared is the chip leader with about 2.7 million. He has king 3 of hearts this time with the button, and he's going to raise it up to 105,000 to go.
Is a favorite hand over a random 2-card hand, so he raises it.
Into the cannon, who's got a 4-5 of hearts again.
Same exact hand he had last time when he earned his pot by coming over the top with the gut shot straight and flush draw. So he's fond of that hand, and why not? Why not make the call? Well, here comes that flop. Well, it's come 7-6-5 with 2 spades. Sean with bottom pair and open end straight draw checks. And Jared Hamby has a gut shot straight draw, and he is going to fire, Vince. He's making the continuation bet, 125,000, and just hoping that that flop didn't hit Sean.
That did hit the cannon. He's got the pair and a straight draw, and he's called it.
Jared not liking that at all. Let's see how this hand develops. Here comes the turn card. Well, the queen of diamonds comes off on the turn. No help to either player. Sean checks. Will Jared fire again? That's the question. Nope. He's going to check.
Yep, he slows down very wisely.
Yeah.
River card, a deuce of hearts, helping neither player.
Well, again, Sean checks. And again, Jared checks. And 2 5s are going to win this pot. Well, I guarantee you one thing. The 5-4 hearts is becoming the favorite hand of Sean Buchanan very quickly here. He's won back-to-back pots with the same 2 cards.
Nicely done by the former landscaper and house framer, playing slop hands that turn out to be very profitable sometimes.
He can play those kind of hands, Vince, because he's got such a great feel for the game. He seems to know where he's at all times, including knowing when he can take a pot away from his opponents, which we've seen him do several times here tonight. So truthfully, you got to say Sean Buchanan has really played better than everybody at this final table so far. It's no fluke that he's playing for this title.
And this time he has a 6-5.
Well, he makes the call here. But Jared Hamby has picked up the ace-10 of clubs in the big blind. He's got to figure it's the best hand when his opponent didn't raise pre-flop. So he's going to raise it himself.
Yeah, that's an additional 105. He's going to make the cannon pay for it if he wants to stick around with that slop.
Well, Sean's been on a little roll. He's won 2 pots in a row with a 5 high. Why not play one in position with a 6 high? And that's what he's doing. So he's made the call with the 6 high. And Jared just doesn't learn. He defends when he's got money in the pot. Now flop comes queen 8-6 with 2 hearts.
The cannon caught a piece of that one.
And he's got bottom pair, but the action's on Jared with the ace-10 of clubs. And look at this, Vince. He is going to fire at this pot. 150,000.
Bad news is the cannon caught a piece of that, and he is a stubborn player.
Well, he's just got bottom pair, though, Vince. And look at this. He is going to call with the 2 6s.
Yeah.
Just has a hunch they're the best hand. Indeed, they are. It's not an easy call to make there, folks. Believe me. Guy raised before the flop and then leads out in the flop, and you find bottom pair. What do you do?
Here comes 4th Street. 8 pairs the board.
It's back on Jared. And notice how quickly Jared's betting here, Vince. Many times, that's a sense of weakness where you're trying to display strength, but Sean Buchanan not going for it. He quickly makes the call with the 2 6s once again.
Well, we know Jared is weak, but he sticks his chips out there only to get called down. This is a very solid call. We will see 1 card to come. Here it is.
Oh, a 6 comes off. Well, that's a great card for Sean Buchanan. Gives him a full house. He now has 6s full of 8s.
Jared is going to slow down. He has checked it.
Well, Sean says, you've been betting for a while. Let me take a turn. Let's see how much he's going to bet, Vince. He's getting out a lot of artillery here.
Oh, that's just a very, very scary card, you know.
Well,
if you're Hamby, I mean, the flush draw, the pair, 2 pair out there, I mean, if you blow on this pot, you'd win it.
Well, not necessarily, Vince. The way it was played, remember, Sean didn't raise on the flop of the turn, so you can't put him on a queen or an 8 in his hand.
800.
He could have had a flush draw on the flop, in which case he would have made the flush.
He could have had a 6, which makes a little sense to call that.
But I'm telling you, Jared's got a problem here, because if he thinks his opponent had a straight draw, something like a 5-7 or a 9-10, he's liable to pay this bet offense with just the ace high. But no.
He's going to dump his hand, but I tell you something, you got to give a lot of credit to the Cannon Buchanan, because he stuck around with just the bottom pair. He earned that. You know, he might have gotten some type of tell off of Jared. He was so casual with his bets. You know, sometimes when you're so casual, it means the opposite. You really have nothing. I think he was right on with that.
Well, Vince, he sort of played that hand like Texas did in its premier days against the Baylor football teams of old. He just ran over it.
The boardroom table and the poker table. The only difference between them is a layer of felt. At these tables, we go all in. We're fully leveraged. Reading risk and reward here isn't much different than reading it on a spreadsheet. We play because poker's like business, without the conference calls. The office may close at 6, but there's a game that's always open. We play at FullTiltPoker.com.
Everything you need to know about World Poker Tour is available at WPT on GSN.com.
Welcome back to Las Vegas. I'm Mike Sexton along with Vince Van Patten, and you're watching the heads-up battle of the Mandalay Bay Poker Championship. And for the first time tonight in this heads-up battle, Sean Buchanan from Canada is now our chip leader. He's sitting on about $2.5 million in chips. Jared Hamby now behind in this heads-up battle. He's got $2 million.
And with the button, it's going to be on the Cannon man. He's got a 7-4 diamonds this time. He's going to get aggressive, makes a raise, going to 80,000.
Well, just pop it up a little bit here. 40,000 more, and Jared's going to make the call with the 10-7. So here comes the flop. Well, flop comes 8-7 deuce with 2 clubs. Both players have flopped a pair of 7s. Jared checks, and Sean checks right behind him. Now the 5 of hearts comes off. Again, Jared checks. Well, Sean's going to bet the 2 7s and the gut shot straight draw now, and it's quickly called by Jared.
$80,000 bet.
So for Sean to win this pot, he's going to have to catch a 6 or a 4.
Here comes the river card of 3 of hearts. Doesn't help either player.
Well, action's on Jared Hamby. He's checked this hand down all the way, but now all of a sudden he is going to bet out here 100,000. And Sean has made the call with 2 7s and a 4. Jared wins the pot because he has a better kicker. His second card, the 10, is higher than the 4. So Jared Hamby going to take down that pot.
Talk about a good value bet on the end with just your 7s, big 10 kicker, not that big at all, to make that kind of value bet.
Well, it might have been a defensive bet as well, Vance. He bet 100,000 into a pot that had 330,000 in it. But whatever it was well done because Jared Hamby is going to take down that pot.
Dead even now, kid.
Vince, we've got a virtual horse race right now. Both players with about the same amount of chips, both fighting it out for that WPT title and over $750,000.
Okay, and the price of poker is going up. The antes are going to be 10,000, blinds are going to be 30 and 60,000. Action is going to be on Jared. This time with the button, he looks down at an ace-10.
Oh, and look at this, Vince. He doesn't raise with the ace-10.
Check.
He's going to camouflage the strength of that hand. He just calls on the button with the ace-10. And Sean Buchanan tickled to death to get a free flop with a 9-deuce offsuit. Now flop comes queen 8-7 with 2 spades. No help to either player. Sean checks. And notice how quickly Jared bets once again.
60,000 it looks like.
Well, Vince, you just have to sense that Sean has picked up on the fact when Jared bets quickly and casually that he's got nothing, so he comes over the top of him. He is going to check raise here in this situation to 180,000.
The cannon man just firing right there with just 9 high.
Incredibly, Jared hadn't mucked his hand already. In fact, Vince, it looks like he's getting out more chips himself. This would be incredible if he re-raised right here with this hand.
Raise.
Wow, what a testosterone contest we're seeing. Both guys really fighting for the pots now. Vince, you just have to wonder if Jared's thinking, you know, I saw you make a play where you checked raise earlier at this final table where you had nothing. Maybe you're doing it again. He read it right. He takes down the pot. But what poker we're seeing now by both of these guys, Vince. Well, both players are smiling because both know they were trying to steal a pot from the other guy.
Oh, this is like a schoolyard shoving match to impress the girl.
So Jared Hamby once again regains the chip lead. Vince, that is teetering, tottering back and forth here. But what bold play both of them are making to try to win these pots. Just raising and re-raising with nothing to try to take it away from the opponent.
Yeah, playing on guts alone. Very impressive by these 2 young guys.
Now, 2-time WPT champion Barry Greenstein said that's what heads-up battles are all about. Who's got the moxie to keep firing at the pot?
All right, it's on Sean the Cannon. This time got a wide pair of 3s. He's going to raise to 130 to go.
Well, Jared Hamby looks down at the same hand he just won the last pot with, an ace-10. Let's see how he's going to play this one. And folks, remember, an ace-10 is a big hand when you're playing heads-up poker, as is any pair.
Last time he played it slow, tried to trap, be deceptive. This time, what's he going to do?
Raise it.
Well, he is going to raise it, Vance, with the ace-10.
All right, he's going to mix it up.
Well, he's made it $350,000 to go. It's a $220,000 re-raise, and quickly Sean calls him.
Yeah, the pair of 3s going nowhere.
Anytime you're calling raises with small pairs, all you're saying to yourself is, please let me hit this set. Let me get lucky one time. Now the flop comes queen 9-4.
Not help Jared. He is first to act. Will he fire with a continuation bet? With just the ace high, yes, an additional 410 into the pot.
Got lost.
Healthy bet there, $410,000 by Jared Hamby. And folks, believe me, when you've got 2 3s now, and a guy re-raised you before the flop and leads out on a flop with 3 overcards, they're not looking that good.
How much? 410?
But look at this, Sean is going to make this call. What an incredible call this is.
Well, Vince, looks to me like he can read Jared pretty good if he's calling with 2 3s in this situation.
Jared covering up there with his hand.
Let's see what happens on the turn here.
The 9 comes up and pairs the board.
So action back on Jared. Will he have the heart to fire another shell after getting called on that flop? And if he does, what's Sean going to do then?
How much you have?
Well, he's asking Sean how many chips he has left. Jared with a slight chip lead before this pot started.
Like 1.4.
With just an ace high. Jared Hamby is betting again, and this time $600,000. Folks, let me tell you, when a guy re-raises you before the flop, bets over $400,000 on the flop and $600,000 on the turn, and you just have 2 stinking little 3s, you're not that happy.
Now, what is the Cannon thinking about here? Can you possibly call this?
Well, Vince, if he makes this call, Wow. That'll be something. I mean, he looks up at Jared. Now, does Jared look nervous to you, Vince?
You can't see him. He's got that hand in front of his face.
Yeah, that's because he's
stinking cap over his eyes.
He's just biting his fingers there. That's what he's doing.
He's going to make this call.
Wow, he's made the call here. Just an incredible call by Sean Buchanan here with just 2 threes.
Jared, you want to bite your hand off at this point. You can't believe this guy is sticking around. Well, I'll tell you something. I think he's got something on him. He's reading him perfectly. Whatever it is, he's making some incredible calls against Jared. Well, we've got a gigantic pot here.
Sean Buchanan, he's virtually putting his tournament life on his read right here, Vince.
Yes, he is.
Let's see if it pays off for him. Well, the king of diamonds comes on the river.
Did not help either player.
Is he going to fire a third shell? No, he's going to check.
Check.
It's a scare card for both players. Sean checks behind him.
Okay.
He's going to win this pot with 2 threes, and Jared is not going to like the hand that he lost to here, Vince. Look at him. He jumps up from the table after winging his cards in there, and he is in a tizzy right now, Vince, wondering to himself, how can this guy keep calling me like this?
The call of the week on the WPT, just incredible by the Cannon. And he's got Jared pacing in the background there, very upset. You talk about poker, the psychological part of it, about reading people, about knowing players. This guy's got it on him.
I played that hand perfect. I knew he was weak. That's sick. Wow. Wow, I played that hand so good. That's all. That's a great call, man, in turn.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. We are at Mandalay Bay, and right now, the call of the week by Sean the Cannon Buchanan with just a pair of threes has this crowd buzzing.
Well, I can tell you what's buzzing right now, Vince, and that's Jared's head. Jared, a very intense competitor, seemingly a little bit on tilt right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is annoying when someone outplays you. It makes you question your own talents. It humbles you and discourages you at the same time. Let's go back down to the table. It's going to be on the Waco Kid. He has an 8-5 of spades this time. Just going to call it.
Well, he limps in on the button with the 8-5 of spade, and Sean says, give us a flop. He's got the 10-8. And it's come Jack, 9, deuce. So Sean has flopped an open-end straight draw and checks.
Yes, he does. Jared with nothing going there. Is he getting chips out? Yes, he is.
Well, he's not slowing down even after he got stung like a bee the last time he tried to bluff this guy.
He's going to slop out 75,000.
But Sean quickly calling him with the open-end straight. And Vince, he's got to be saying, can this guy see my cards? How does he call me every time I bluff at a pot? Well, here comes the turn card. Well, the ace of diamonds comes off. That's no help to either player.
And they check very quickly together.
Sean checks, and Jared's not going to bluff anymore, folks. He's checked it. Now the 3 of spade comes off.
And the Cannon getting chips out, it appears.
He only has 10 high. He bets 160,000. Little does he know it's the best hand. Jared quickly mucking his hand. He's done with it.
The Waco Kid going wacko there. You know, he was actually folding his hand before the chips even went in. He is tilting right now and folding before our very eyes. You can't blame him.
Vince, the last time he fired a couple shells bluffing, he got called down all the way. This time he just took 1 shell and fired at it to try to bluff at it, and then he said, you know, I'm done with this. This guy just never lets go. He's worse than a bulldog hanging on. He just doesn't let go. I'm not giving him any more chips.
Oh. How do you not fold on the turn?
Look at this. He's talking. He says, how do you not fold?
The river I should have bet for sure.
That's true, but it's very tough to bet after a guy calls you for that kind of money. Let's go back down to the table. It's going to be on the Cannon. He's got his pair of threes again.
Well, Vince, you do talk to yourself when the guy calls you down every time you're bluffing.
He's called, and Jared Hamby going over the top all in with king 8 of hearts.
Could end it here. I got a pair.
He's got the small pair. Most of the time, you like to be the guy moving in with the small pair. Because if you're calling a big bet with him, you know the best you can be is in a race situation where your opponent's going to have 2 overcards.
He knows he's playing against tilt money right now.
Well, Vince, 2 threes were lucky for Sean the last hand, that's for sure. Will he think they'll be lucky again for him? He's got the big chip lead. You just hate to double your opponent up here. When at best you're in a race situation. Well, Vince, what he does know is even if he plays this pot and loses it, he's still going to have the chip lead when it's over with. So that gives you a little comfort in thinking if you want to gamble this hand. And you see what he's doing there. He's counting the chips. He'll realize that he does have the chip lead if he plays this pot and loses it.
All right, let's play.
So why not gamble here? And that's what he's doing. He has made the call with the 2 threes. And folks, as the cards lie, we have almost exactly a 50-50 proposition as to who's going to win it.
Sean Buchanan with his
back to even if you win it.
Lucky hand, going with that, playing superbly. Will his momentum work for him?
If Sean wins this pot,
oh man, I don't feel too good about this one. For some
you can
reason.
bet the rest of his life his favorite hand is going to be 2 threes.
5 cards to come.
I've won too many of these lately. I think I'm gonna have to just.
And right there, Waco Kid says, I don't feel too good about this for some reason.
You never feel good when you're all in, Vince. Well, it's come Jack 7-5. So far, no help for Jared. He's going to have to catch 2 running hearts, 2 running cards to make a straight.
Get over here.
A king or an 8.
I'll come sweat it with you.
Or otherwise, have the board pair twice if he's going to stay alive in this pot.
And look at this, the 2 good sports standing side by side, sharing rich young laughs together.
Heart, 6, 9, 10.
Well, Jared recognizes he got a lot of cards that can get him right back in the hunt here.
You're 80% favorite.
Well, the 4 spade comes off. Now, both players have a draw for a straight. Of course, Jared will make an 8 high straight and win the pot if a 6 comes off. So he can now win the pot with a king, an 8, or 6.
Pocket 3s, eh? That's my hand, baby. That was pretty sick, man. I gotta tip my cap.
Not a king, 8, or a 6. Sean Buchanan will be our champion.
Can the 24-year-old Canadian take this title? 1 card to come. Let's take a look.
Well, here comes that river card. It's an ace. That's going to do it. Sean Buchanan getting mobbed out on the floor right now. And Vince, let me tell you, if a guy ever deserves hugs for winning the title, it's this guy. He played magnificently tonight. He deserves to be this champion.
Well, the hand of his life is going to be a pair of 3s. He has done it. He's taken the title. $768,000 richer. A WPT title. Sean Buchanan is our champion.
Champion of the Mandalay Bay Poker Championship from British Columbia, Canada, Sean Buchanan. For Vince Van Patten, Kimberly Lansing, and everyone at the World Poker Tour, I'm Mike Sexton saying thanks for watching. And until next time, may all your cards be live and your pots be monsters.